about to leave. Already packing, come with me. I'm not really asking. We'll get away to a place where we don't know.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Colorado Knits Fibercast, videocast, podcast, whatever you want to call it. I am Carrie, your host, otherwise known as Colorado Knits. You can find me on Instagram and Ravelry as Colorado Knits, not really on Ravelry that often. And you can email me at hello@coloradoknits.net. I have an out-of-date blog at coloradoknits.net that hopefully I'm going to start putting some project pages up there and just using it a little bit more, especially when I don't have time to podcast, because it's been like, I think 5 or 6 weeks since I last podcast. And it's not like anything really exciting has been going on in my life. I just haven't had the impetus to pull out the ring light and sit down and actually podcast. So today, I don't think I said, that is Wednesday, May 12th. I am off work today because I had a crazy week, and I'll talk about that at the end because most of you probably don't want to hear about it. And so I took a day off work and I slept in this morning and took a nice long walk with the dogs. And then I went out and did a 5-mile run, not a 10-mile run. Went for a 5-mile run and just chilled at home. And now I thought, I'm going to share all of my whips because that's what I've got. If you follow me on Instagram, you can see that in the last month, I went down a rabbit hole with stimulus money and tax return money and stuff. And I bought like 1.5 miles worth of yarn. I bought a lot of yarn. And so I have quelled on that, and I'm not going to show it on the podcast because it makes me, it is definitely gluttony in the yarn department, and I've got to start knitting it up. So you'll see it when it starts getting knit up, but I have a little bit to share today. But I have about 7 whips here. I think I've got 1 million project bags. I decided to film today in our loft, which is my favorite room in our whole house. It is what like won me over on this house. It is just wide open, and we may have a dog come in. Probably not. They're downstairs asleep. They're pretty intuitive when I'm doing stuff, but if they come in, great. Hopefully just nobody comes. I already had my Amazon delivery for the day. So this is my favorite room. It's where I sit and knit, and it's quiet, and my husband bought me a giant TV in January, and I never watch it. I put podcasts on it upon occasion. And there's a big blue chair to my right that the dogs love to sleep in. And it's just a super comfy room, and my husband's bass that he never plays is hanging on the wall. And behind us, there's a whole bunch of concert photos that my husband takes. He loves a band called Hailstorm out of Nashville. They're a metal band fronted by an incredibly talented woman, Lizzie Hale, and he has the biggest crush on her, and it's cute. So we have all these autographed pictures of Lizzie, and we have an album that's autographed and framed, and a poster, and all his meet and greet passes. This is like his room, but it's my room because he doesn't hang out up here. And the sofa I'm sitting on is really tiny, and he's 6'4", and he doesn't think the sofa is really comfortable, so he really never hangs out up here. And it's got great light. So, and because I took the day off work and I am not answering emails or texts or anything, I didn't even want to be in my office. So my office is my knitting room, and it is probably my second favorite room in the house, but no, not in there. So let's get to the knitting content. I thought I had show notes. Either my show notes are in my work notebook, or I didn't ever write any show notes. So I'm just going to pull this out of my ear, which is how I do most things in life. And it's served me just fine. I only really have one finished object, and it is from my giant box of yarn. And it is the Ribbon Wrap by Illy Tilly. You can get it on Knit Picks and on Ravelry, I'm sure. And it is a garter stitch stole, and I did it in acrylic, and it's actually super soft and comfy and lovely, and I love it, and it is warm, and it is meant for my office. I'm going to wrap it around me in my office. I did learn, I've been working from home, and I was asked to come into the office full-time, which is hard for me because I am the marketing person and the fundraiser, and I write a lot. And I write much better when I'm not sitting at a desk. So I either sit in this big blue chair over here, or I sit in a big chair in my knitting room / office, and I sit and write. So I have created a little corner in my office my work office, my actual on-property office, where I can sit and knit, but it's on an ottoman that's pretty stiff. And so, and also my office is very cold because it's north facing. So I needed a big blankety type thing. And so I made the ribbon wrap. And it is about 10 feet long. It's huge. And I also went up a needle size because I knit tight. I don't need to do that, but I also had a slew of yarn, and at $2 a skein, it was worth it. But here it is. It is gigantic. And I took my cue from the Hudson Bay Company, and these are Hudson Bay Company colors. They are a trading company out of Canada, and I'm still going. It's still going. And it folds over on itself, but it is so squishy and lovely, and I love it, love it, love it. And I never want to take it off, and it's just, I can bundle up in so many ways in it if I want. And it's just super squishy. There is something to be said about acrylic, because if I spill Diet Coke or tea or coffee or anything on it, it's gonna wash just fine. And the yarn was Big Twist from Joann, and I spent on all of the yarn, I spent maybe $15, $18. I think it was $18 with shipping. So it was totally worth it for me to get a super cozy, comfy blanket that I can wear at work. And at home if I need to, but it does have a giant, you end up doing a giant Kitchener, but it's not a Kitchener, it's Garter Kitchener. And it was slightly challenging in that I was pulling too tight, I found out. You knit it in two pieces, but it wasn't bad. I don't know, people hate Kitchener and it doesn't bother me at all. I just had to remind myself that doing Garter, you have to do it a little bit different. So that is my finished object, and I love it, and I now can take it into my office because I've completed the podcast. I literally almost just podcast with it in my office yesterday, but I waited a day. The other thing I am doing, I am knitting. We have our second vaccine clinic at my office for our residents and for the public, and it's been 4 weeks, so we are having our second vaccine clinic on Friday. And when somehow I got put in charge of it. And so when I was showing the Denver Health nurses where we were going to do everything 4 weeks ago, I was wearing a pair of Turkish bed socks. And the nurses, who all wear clogs, saw them, but they could barely see them. And they're like, oh my gosh, her socks are totally hidden. And I'm like, oh, I make them. It's my superpower. And I got a wild hair, and so for the 3 lead nurses who put up with a lot of schedule changes and challenges that we had with the whole thing, I am making Turkish bed socks that I have to finish by tomorrow night, basically, and I have finished 4.5 out of 6. It's the 3 lead nurses. They're all size 8, they claim, so hopefully these will fit them, and if not, they can wear them not at work. This yarn is, shocking, Always Be Kind yarn. This is Rainbows for Kaylin's Brights. She changed her Rainbows for Kaylin design. It was a little different when I first knit with it. It had smaller rows and there was a pink in there. But now it's a more traditional rainbow, and it's about 3 to 4 rows per color, and it's super perfect. And then all their toes are red. They're pretty much the same sock. I've got a pair. Once you do a white one, it ends up with you have to start with the green and blue. And then I'm on number 5. Started number 5 last night, white again. And I'm still only on my first skein. I will get 6 socks out of 1 skein because I'm doing the red toes. So that's cool. That's Always Be Kind Yarn. She's on Etsy, and she has her own website at alwaysbekindyarn.com. And the pattern is Turkish Bed Socks by Church Mouse, which is available on and off Ravelry. I think it's a $6 download. So that's my main work in progress. I want to get those done, obviously, because the clinic is in 2 days, but also because I'm working on an amazing shawl. And this shawl is called Ice Cream Social by Lisa K. Ross, otherwise known as Paper Daisy Creations. And you can see it there. It's a kite-shaped shawl. And Lisa does wonderful things with rainbows. And if I'm going to knit, I like knitting in my happy place, which is super bright colors. So I decided I was going to use charcoal. This is just a Cascade Heritage I had. Something weird just happened outside. And then I was going to do rainbow colors from, you guessed it, Always Be Kind yarns. So I'll insert the picture here from Instagram I have of the colors I'm going to use. But I just got started on it. I'm just through the first couple of sections. The gray is showing a little brown base on it. It's charcoal, so I was a little surprised by that, but I think when I get into the other colors, it'll look great. It is lace motif, stockinette lace, so there is a lot of purling, which I don't mind. I love stockinette lace with a central double decrease. And right now it looks like a thong, but it's going to be an absolutely gorgeous shawl. So I will be working on that. It is due at the end of the month, and it will be my weekend project that I will be busting out, and I can't wait. As soon as I finish these tonight, these socks, I'm going to be working on this, and I love it, and I can't wait. It's going to be huge, and it's just so bright and colorful. I didn't do white because I can't do white because I can't have nice things. So I did the charcoal instead, and gray is my neutral. So I think it'll be great for just wearing with my little black dresses that I wear, a black cardigan, gray, whatever. Excuse me. I'm addicted to these little seltzer things from my grocery store. Other whips that I have going, I have the sweater with the yarn that should not be named. And that is the Hobby Lobby yarn that was a gift to me. And it is a pavement sweater by Isabel Kramer. I think Pavement's by Isabel Kramer. And it's available on and off Ravelry, I believe. This is like my go-to sweater. I knit it every time I need a sweater. I've done already one this year, I think. And I just have to do the sleeves now. So I've got it all finished up. I just need to bang on the sleeves, and it's 100% merino, superwash merino. So it is really soft yarn. I just wouldn't buy it myself because of the politics of Hobby Lobby and the fact that they stole artifacts, religious artifacts, and they claim to be good Christians, so that bothers me. It is a lot like a color from Three Irish Girls, as well as the Lemonade Shop. So that's another thing, is that they totally were not creative with their own colorways. They just ripped off other colorways. But I got 3 skeins as a gift from a friend. I made leg warmers with one, and this will only take 2.5 for me. And I have a half skein left, so it's all good. But it is a fun, easy, mindless pattern, and it's all just stockinetting around. So hopefully I will be wearing a sweater on my next podcast as well. A sweater, some socks, and a shawl. My next whip, I've misplaced one. I seem to have misplaced one of my favorite whips. Oh, it's right next to me. I'm doing another sockhead hat. This is in 716 knits yarn I got 2 years ago at Zombie Knitpocalypse, and I'm just doing a sockhead. It is my mindless knitting. It's absolutely gorgeous colored yarn. It would match my sweater very well. It's very bright and obnoxious. I don't even need a sockhead so much, but they're always good to just have around, and I like working on them when I'm on conference calls. And this will be my work project, because I had another project that I was going to take, I was working on at work, and it was too pretty, and I couldn't just work on it every few weeks at work. This is the Linus shawl. It is a very basic, design, just a growing triangle. I can't find words today. It's a free pattern on Ravelry. She might have it on her blog as well. I'm not sure, but it's called Linus. And it's in German, and there's an English translation. And it is just, I'm using Always Be Kind yarn, my friend Laura, in her Holiday Lights color. And I skeined this up some time ago, and it was really pretty, but I thought it was going to be white with little itty bitty blips of color. And then when I skeined it up, it looked like it was going to be a little bit more color than I thought, but still a ton of white. But when I actually started knitting it up, and granted, I'm on the very shortest rows, it is just the happiest, most beautiful colors I have ever seen. It is just a full rainbow does not necessarily look like Christmas lights to me, but a full rainbow of colors, and I cannot wait to have this. I'm going to use every single gram of this if I can, because it is so pretty and it's so easy, and it just makes me happy to knit, and I don't have to think about it. It is 2 rows, one where you increase and one where you just knit back. It is garter stitch. It's very similar to like the Hitchhiker by Martina Baim, but it's a free pattern. Again, I found it on Ravelry, so it's probably there. I found it. I don't store all of my patterns on Ravelry. We can talk about that in another podcast, or maybe at the end of this one. So this is, this may become my brewery knitting because I love it so much, and it is pretty brainless, only 2 rows in it. And then this really, I swear, is my last whip. I went down the Brenda and Heather Bah Yarns, B-A-H, Brenda and Heather yarns out of Kentucky. They released a couple of months ago a gradient that is called Double or Nothing, and it is a double rainbow, and you can get it in a single skein or a shawl ball, and this is a shawl ball. It is 170 grams. You can see there's Brenda and Heather's little logo. It is a 3-ply fingering weight, 100% superwash merino, and I am making an absolutely simple triangular shawl, stockinette triangular shawl with a simple yarn over increase. It's a free pattern on their website, and if I knit it as it should go, it will end up looking like this little, let's see if we can, I don't know if it's pretty out of focus, but it'll be a triangular shawl with that big rainbow going one way, and then it doubles back on itself. And it's just so beautiful, and the yarn is super fun to work with. It is a very light fingering. It's 3-ply, so it's pretty light compared to usual 4-ply. So I think this is going to be huge if this is 170 grams, which I like big shawls. I cannot lie. And outside of a garter tab start that I struggled a little with, even though I've done a million of them, it's just, again, another easy, mindless shawl. So I have a lot of whips going, and I know that probably causes a lot of people anxiety. For me, it doesn't really, because if I want to knit and something isn't feeling like what I want to knit, I just throw it aside and knit something else, which would also be the reason that I am languishing on my last 2 socks that I have to finish, because I've been working on a couple of other things. So that's it for whips and finished objects. That's the actual knitting portion. I have tried to be good. Sorry, I was totally looking away from the camera. Tried to be good about not buying as much yarn after buying. I bought that Brenda and Heather. I bought so much from Always Be Kind. I bought stuff from Loopy U. I bought an extra skein of the charcoal from Loopy U. I got my Artistic Yarn by Abby package. So I've been trying to quell that. This was my last month that I'm going to do row 1 yarns for a couple months. I just have way too much yarn, and I've got enough to do an advent calendar for myself. But sorry for the crinkling. This was last month's, and it's from it's from Asylum Fibers. And she's in Queens, Queens, New York, and her colors are just amazing. I could make a shawl out of just this. I could make something sort of striped, because these purples and blues and greens. Almost all the dyers I have seen recently have been doing a fluorescent yellow. I think the last 2 or 3 I've gotten from Always Be Kind, or not Always Be Kind, from Row 1 Yarn have had that fluorescent yellow and orange in it. I guess I'm not very hip, but I guess that's an in color right now. But Row 1 Yarns, she does 10 gram minis that you can get for $36 including shipping. And they always include a stitch marker, and that includes, I said it includes shipping. You get stitch markers and a little treat every month. I just have so much yarn right now. I think I'm going to take 2 months off, and then I will pick it up at the end of the summer once I've knit through all these whips. And And then for some reason, I had a crazy idea that I needed some yarn from Heather at the Lemonade Shop. She was having a big update, and I haven't ordered from her in years. When she started dyeing, she's fairly local to me. She used to be in Colorado Springs, and now she's in Castle Rock. She started in 2014, and she had amazing colorways. She had a Stormy Day, which was a gray with a rainbow, like the rip-off sweater yarn I have. She had all sorts of beautiful colors, and this one just spoke to me. I don't know why. It's probably going to be socks or a sock head. It's called Ice Cream Truck. And it is, I got the 75/25 superwash merino nylon. It is 459 yards, so I could get a full pair of socks and a pair of shorties out of it if I want, or I could do a sock head or any number of things. I have a sock head with similar colors, but her color is just so bright and so cheery and wonderful. So if you don't know Heather at the Lemonade Shop, she's at thelemonadeshop.com, I think, and order from her. So that's where I spent my money this month. I did get my Artistic Yarn by Abby package. I did not include it when I brought it out here. She did an amazing colorway. It arrived on Earth Day, literally. She did a color that was the Earth at night, and she took the picture that was taken by the Apollo 11 astronauts, I want to say, of the Earth with its blue and green, the water, the land, the night sky, the black of the sky, the marble that is the Earth, and it's got white specks, and it's absolutely gorgeous, and I don't even know what I'm going to do with it. It's going to be probably socks, but since I'm not really doing a lot of big long socks right now, I'm holding off on winding it up. So that's the knitting portion. Socially, I got to meet up with my friend Jo, who is Salty Jo Knits. She has an audio podcast, and she's on Instagram and Ravelry, and so we met up and had some snacks together when she was in town for her daughter's hockey tournament. So I was a little bit social, but the real reason I haven't podcast is I have just been slammed at work. It has been kind of crazy. I got to be a celebrity this week. I will preface this by saying I am an introvert. When I have to be on, I can be on. And then when I'm done being on, I go home and I go to bed. And I don't want to talk to even my husband, maybe a dog, but not really even. I need to reset my brain. And starting Sunday, I was on TV with 3 television interviews because the catalytic converters on our vans at work got stolen. And it was about $20,000 worth of catalytic converters that they stole from us. We have insurance, so we'll put in an insurance claim and blah, blah, blah. But it was newsworthy because it's been a big deal. It's an epidemic across the country. And in Colorado, thefts are just off the chart. But also they stole from a nonprofit in the middle of a pandemic. And the odds are they were stealing to fund some sort of habit they have. I will say a drug habit. And we are a drug recovery center. So the irony was not lost on me that they came in broad daylight a week ago Sunday and stole 5 catalytic converters off of our vans, our snowplow, our box truck. So that was A, upsetting, and our residents were really upset, but B, it was something I felt people should know about, and also a way for me to raise money for our organization to help repay for all the stuff that got taken. So I did interviews with 2 local news stations, as well as the Telemundo station here. I did not do that interview. I just oversaw it. Thankfully, I have a coworker who speaks Spanish. We don't have a Spanish program because we just don't have enough Spanish speakers, and finding therapists who speak Spanish who are bilingual is challenging. So we don't have a Spanish program, but it's of concern to every population. So I did that for Sunday and Monday. And then Tuesday morning, we had a piece air with a partner organization that I wasn't in, but I got calls about it and emails about it, and I had to respond to people about it. And we raised some good money. So that's nice. We got a ton of new donors, which was really fantastic. And I'm so appreciative of them, but I am zonked. I am off today simply so that I can completely recover. And I just heard that I got a work email on my iPad over here, and I'm just totally ignoring it, and it feels great. We also moved our golf tournament up 8 weeks, which means I have to get cranking on it right now. And we decided we're hosting a reception for work. I did get my managers off of the idea that we have to have a dinner or a luncheon where it's like tables of 10 and it tends to be fairly boring and you struggle to fill those tables. Like, you sell them because your sponsors are like, yeah, I'll take a table, and they give you their $2,000 or whatever, but they don't want to come to lunch and they don't want to eat rubber chicken and they don't want to hear the stories, even though the stories are great. So I convinced my management team that we could do a reception, and everybody loves a reception because there's free drink and free food, and it's 90 minutes of your life after work. So I'm working on that, and that's not till November, but that's still another thing tied in with a golf tournament and all the stuff I have to do. So we also had 2 funding visits. So that means I had 2 funders. They were virtual, but that is also like, you're on and you're saying how great your program is and you're hoping they'll give you money and partner with you. And this one of them is a really big program where it could really help us with our outreach and everything. And it isn't about the money. The money is needed, but it isn't about the money. And it was so fun to do that presentation with my coworker who does our outreach and all of that. But I am just like, I don't have any grants due for a couple weeks. I'm not going to have any visits for a couple weeks. And it's really a nice feeling. So that's what's been going on here, that I am just super busy. And why I haven't knit a whole lot, because I come home and I'm tired. But that's my social life. The yays and nays, I would say I'll start with the negative and the nays. Right now I'm going to complain about my neighbors, which isn't really nice, but my next door neighbors have 5 cars, and the neighbors next to them have 7 cars, and they like to park in front of my house. And I don't mind. We have 2 cars and we use our garage, and we put both cars in the garage. Neither of them put their cars in their garage at all. If they put 2 of their cars in the garage, they would have 3 cars and 5 cars and would not take up as much space on our block. But literally, I can't pull straight out of my driveway because they block the end of my driveway. And so I have to like crank my car. The other day I actually hit the garage door a little, because I wanted to get my car angled right so that I wouldn't hit their car. So that's very frustrating. I am a passive aggressive person, as much as I don't take pride in that. And so I think I will be parking my car outside until like 9 o'clock at night every day when they come home, so they can't park in front of my driveway. That's not nice, I know, but I literally never see them either. So I can't even say, hey, would you mind not doing that? Even though I don't like conflict. But they literally are nocturnal and we are not. Their kids are up at 10 o'clock at night. They have like an 8-year-old, and he is up at 10 o'clock at night when we are trying to go to sleep. So we are totally opposite schedules. We get up at 4:45 in the morning. So I never see these neighbors. Like, I don't even see them pull up the way our house is designed. I don't see them pull up. So I can't even like run out and meet them after they pull up. So that's my nay, is like, if you have a garage, use it. It's not accessory dwelling unit. It is used for cars. And if we can squeeze our 2 cars into our garage, then you can squeeze at least one of your 7 or 5 cars into your garage. So that's my passive aggressive complaint about my neighbors. But on my yays, it's spring. It's lovely out. I just feel great. We're about to have graduation at work, and we have 45 folks who completed our program and are sober and doing great. We do have a golf tournament coming up, and it's fun to get to plan that because it's going to start to be nice out. And I don't golf, but I get to go schmooze at the golf club and meet my pro out there and do things. And it's just good weather. We sat out last Friday night, and we went out and we went to our favorite brewery, and we ate tacos, and then we came home and sat in front of our fire pit and just chilled, and it's just so nice. We had rain all week here, and my lawn is super green, and while the rain was super bummer and super cold, and I had to do all those interviews in the rain and looked like a wet dog by the end of the day, I love spring. It is my favorite season. It's not too hot. It's like April 28th is the perfect date. It's not too hot, it's not too cold, and you just need a light jacket. And that's what I'm loving right now. And I'm loving that I do have the flexibility in my job to just take a day off and chill, and finish my socks and get this podcast out. So thank you for hanging in there for 29 minutes and 42 seconds. Not exactly a thrilling podcast today. I apologize. Hopefully I will be somewhat more exciting next week or 2 weeks from now when I can have some stuff to share. And that's about it. I hope you guys are doing well. I hope you go get vaccinated. And I hope you stay positive and test negative, and we will catch you in a couple weeks. We being me and my other personalities. Take care, everybody. See you in a couple weeks.